Arturo Barea Ogazón, the 20th of September 1897 to 24 December 1957, was a Spanish journalist, broadcaster and writer. After the Spanish Civil War, Barea lived in exile in the United Kingdom until his death. Biography. Barea was born in Badajoz, of humble origins. His father died when he was 4 months old, so his mother, with 4 young children to support, worked as a laundress, washing clothes in the river Manzanares, while the family lived in a garret in the Por Lavapiés district of Madrid. Barea was semi-adopted by his aunt and uncle, who were prosperous enough to send him to school. This resulted in his first experience of the class divisions that riddled Spanish society, when his own sister accused him of acting the gentleman while she worked as a servant. He left school aged 13 and got a job at a bank as an office boy and copyist, though did not become a fully paid employee for another year. He later quit after being fined for breaking a glass plate desk cover. Barea served his compulsory military service in Ceuta and Morocco, rising to the rank of sergeant in an engineers regiment of the Spanish Army and seeing action in the Rif War. He began writing and published some poems. He then worked in an office registering patents. He had originally wanted to be an engineer, and in 1924, he married for the first time. He was a member of the socialist UGT, Union General de Trabajadores, and helped found the Clerical Workers' Union at the start of the Second Spanish Republic in 1931. On the outbreak of the Spanish Civil War in mid-1936, he organized a volunteer militia unit, La Pluma, the pen, of office workers fighting under the UGT. Later, thanks to his knowledge of English and French, he worked as a censor at the Foreign Ministry's press office, where he came to know Ernest Hemingway and many other foreign journalists covering the conflict. John Dos Passos, in a 1938 article published in Esquire, referred to Barea as underslept and underfed. During the Siege of Madrid, he joined the radio service broadcasting to Latin America, where he became known as an unknown voice of Madrid, every night telling stories about daily life in the besieged city. He also met the Austrian journalist Ilse Kulkzer, née Pollock, whom he would marry in 1938. As defeat for the Spanish government loomed, this, allied to difficulties with the Communist Party, he was not a member and therefore suspect, and a breakdown in his health, meant that he and his wife had to leave Spain. They went into exile to France in the middle of 1938, and then to England in 1939. From then until his death, Barea worked for the BBC's World Service Spanish section, while contributing articles and reviews to various literary publications, as well as writing books. Barea spent the last 10 years of his life living at Middle Lodge in Eton Hastings, a house rented from Gavin Henderson, 2nd Baron Farringdon, of nearby Buskett Park. Berea's ashes were scattered in his garden at Middle Lodge, and a memorial to Barea and his wife was erected behind her parents' grave in the churchyard annex of All Saints Church, Farringdon, Oxfordshire. Barea has 3 Spanish streets named in his honor, in Badajoz, Mérida and Novès, and a square, Plaza de Arturo Barea, in Madrid. He is a central figure in Amanda Val's non-fiction book Hotel Florida, published in 2014. Publications. Maxim Lieber was Berea's literary agent in 1947 and 1950. The Forging of a Rebel. His best-known work is his autobiography La Forja de un Rebelde, The Forging of a Rebel, published in 3 volumes. La Forja, The Forge, provides a detailed and evocative account of his childhood and adolescence growing up in Madrid between 1905 and 1914. It was reviewed favorably by George Orwell in Horizon. a fragment of autobiography, and we may hope that others will follow it. If the fascist powers have done no other good, they have at least enriched the English-speaking world by exiling all their best writers. Quote, La Ruta, the track, recounts his military experiences in Morocco during the Rif War from 1920 to 1925. In his foreword to this volume, Barea notes that what he witnessed in that war was the embryonic stage in the development of military fascism in Spain, more particularly the beginnings of General Franco's political career. LLAMA, the clash, literally, the flame in Spanish, narrates his experience of the Civil War and exile between 1935 and 1940. The book starts off in a Castilian village and ends up in Paris, but its essential subject is the Siege of Madrid. Quote, George Orwell. The books were translated into English by Arturo Barea and first published between 1941 and 1946. Orwell, in his review of the trilogy, said, an excellent book. Barea is one of the most valuable of the literary acquisitions that England has made as a result of fascist persecution. The first Spanish-language edition was published in Argentina in 1951, and not published in Spain until 1978. La Forjada Un Rebelde was dramatized on TV in 1990. Directed and with screenplay by Mario Camus. Gabriel Garcia Marquez considered it one of the 10 best books written in Spain following the Spanish Civil War. Quote, Los 10 mejores libros escritos en España después de la Guerra Civil, and one of the best novels written in Spanish. Short stories. Valor y Miedo, Courage and Fear, Spain, 1938. El Centro de la Pista, The Center of the Path, 1960. Biographies. Lorca, The Poet and His People, 1944. About Federico Garcia Lorca. Unamuno, 1952. About Miguel de Unamuno. Novels. La Raíz Rota, The Broken Route, 1955. Published in Spanish in 2009 by Editorial Salto de Pagana. Madrid. Notes. Bibliography. Barea, Arturo. 1984. The Forge. Fontana Paperbacks. ISBN 0-00-654090-2. Barea, Arturo. 1984. The Track. Fontana Paperbacks. ISBN 0-00-654091-0. Barea, Arturo. 1984. The Clash. Fontana Paperbacks. ISBN 0-00-654092-9. Further reading. O'Day, Michael. 2008. Triumph at Midnight of the Century. A Critical Biography of Arturo Barea. Eastbourne, Sussex Academic Press. ISBN 978-1-84519-2884. McAvoy, Eva Nieto. December 2011. A Spaniard Discovers England. Arturo Barea and the BBC Latin American Service. Wasafiri, Taylor and Francis. 26. 4. 8-10. DOI. 10.1080, 026900055.2011.607622.